Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to another show, my dear brothers and sisters. This show is live and we're streaming live all over the entire world. And if you don't believe it and you're in Australia, pick up the phone and call us. 773-434-6625, 773-434-6631, and you'll get an opportunity to talk to us. You never know, if you're me, what you're going to talk about when you're doing a show as wonderful as this called Muhammad and Friends. But I gave you a little insight of my travels, trying to give you some understanding, as my son say, to always give our narrative of the why Crow began. And Crow began because we wanted to defend the name and honor of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. We didn't ask permission from anyone to do this because we believed he deserved being defended. Because as you know, in October, before he was about to depart, he put his son in place, and his son was loosening up the grips on us and our discipline right then and there. And he was being successful even before Savior's Day. Now, brothers and sisters, I don't have any notes or anything of that sort, but there are things on my heart and my mind that I'd like to share with you. When you travel, brothers and sisters, it says wise men will travel. If they don't have money, they read books, but I have a little money, so I can do them both and have done that. And I continuously do that, looking for verification of the greatness of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And I continue to be successful at doing it. And sometimes it's right in your own house, and you don't even see it as much as you would like to. You know, some years I showed you Ghana, the Atlantic Ocean, and the point of no return, where I was there with the great Prince Asiel Ben Israel, who has given me a son in Yosef, who he always wanted me to know the world, but at the same time, he was giving me connections to his family as well. So we're going to talk a little to them and show you how the word has many connections. So you can pick up the phone. You can call us. And if you want to see how this works, I'm talking to a lot of people that have benefited greatly from Crow, but never understood what reciprocity is. And hopefully you'll get a chance to see what that's all about. If you notice, whenever someone builds something up and they get successful, you can always count theirs. And he should be doing this for us, or should be doing this. You never think about what you should be doing. And this is why people, they can't find solace in their own home, they go elsewhere and they find other people. Now I'm talking to you from the heart, because over 30 plus years, Crow has been successful at doing what it should do. And that's why whenever we're in another city or another place, you're always coming up to us and ask us, are we still on TV? When you know we're still on TV. But what you're saying, I know I really haven't helped you to be on TV, but I'm happy that you are, because I learned something so much. But brothers and sisters, it's what you call extensions. We were building something, not that we could go on forever. That's why even the gods, when they recognize that you can eat to live, but you also can eat to die. And when the God was bored, that's what he did. So I'm refreshing you on some of the things that you've been taught, because I get an opportunity on Wednesdays and Fridays to see where we are in the classroom setting. And I've been greatly disappointed that longevity has not been kind to us, because the scientists and scholarly brothers and sisters that we thought that would continue on, even their children, who would pick this up and take it on and fight out there on our behalf, since we were getting older and couldn't move as much as we used to. But anyway, I wanted to set that up for you and to try to remind some of you, when you come into Crow sometimes with your chest stuck out and think that you have ownership here without ever participating or giving of yourself, this is when you run into the Munir Muhammad that you don't like very much. Because I don't like disrespect. I don't like apathy. I don't like Negroism, you know. So I have a tendency to sometimes to respond in kind with abrasiveness myself. I fight with those who fight with me. But I am so honored today because I have a young man, and you have been seeing him the last few years on my show, because as I say, if I don't see it up close, it's not that I stop looking. We looking for the best team. And all of you who have ever been to Crow and dealt with us, you know we put into our youth a lot. We've given of ourselves, and sometimes they don't know how to receive it, and sometimes they just downright misuse it and then hope it'll go away because they didn't respond, you know. So this is family business, as they say. But God is not narrow, and he don't stop with one or two brothers and sisters. He go on, because look at what you said 30 years ago. Who are they? Where did they come from? Who are they to start something on their own? Remember that? And now you can't go anywhere on this earth and not be familiar with this teaching of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. You can pretend, as many of you do, but we know that you know of this. So anyway, I brought in my brother. I call him Yosef, but the combination is that it's a beautiful name. Yes, but I love him, and I have him on frequently, and I have him today. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, sir.
How are you?
Magnificent.
And I have my beautiful sister, Bahtsion,
yes,
who's a world traveler in herself. She's international in scope. She just happened to be his wife, which is greatness. They discovered each other because they were born in the same community. So you're here today.
Yes, sir.
And I'm so honored that you're here, because I said we talk about a lot of things, but
yes, sir.
You all have a gift.
Yes, sir.
And you could see things from the outside sometimes that people may not see that's up close.
Yes, sir.
Even though you're the son of Prince Asiel, but we always said early on, your son is my son. And that's the kind of relationship Prince and I have had. But, you know, you just make me kind of teary-eyed because you become so special to me.
Yes, sir.
But you have things that you do, and
yes,
talents that you have. So tell the people a little bit about you.
Absolutely. Again, it's always an honor and a pleasure to be here with you. And for you to allow me to have my wife by my side is such a beautiful thing, because as you speak about how great Crow is, especially how it invests in its youth, a lot of times we come in here to develop and to grow, but we have talents. And I think a lot of times we are scared to use our talents to benefit the whole, to give back. Right. And so I thought it's most imperative that as we grow and develop in this spirituality and this knowledge of self, we have, in our years of growing and developing our community, developed a knowledge of cooking, almost becoming food scientists, so to speak. And more better way than use this understanding, this knowledge to continue to give back and to be a part of Crow and to develop Crow in the ways that we need in totality, which is food, clothing, and shelter. So why not bring the aspect of good, healthy, vegan cooking to Crow where we can all benefit from? Yes, sir. So I thought that was most important, especially my wife. who has instilled that in my life and showed me the importance of cooking and helped me take my cooking to the next level. And now we have concocted so many recipes and so many ways to make good tasting food but still be healthy.
And so you qualified to write books and do but let me tell you what's so beautiful that I love, because my sister was born in Liberia, and that's where the community originally
Yes, sir.
Went to. And of course she's traveled throughout Africa and Kenya, and they're relatively young, but when she landed in America, she knew to go to the original soul vegetarian
Yes, sir.
Restaurant, because she knew the potential to cement her life was there.
Yes, sir.
And so I know you don't have to talk about it, but let me tell you, see, everybody likes a love story.
Yes, sir.
But you all have so much in common, and you run this restaurant downtown.
Yes, sir.
And your father, who's traveling right now in Israel, I thought it was something you just had to stay behind in order to run that. And at such a young age, this was the thing that I wanted to be able to do, to get the young people to want to love this, because I know how great this is.
Yes, sir.
And Prince has been so successful in galvanizing his children. And that's why we didn't know any better. We only wanted 1.5 children. I mean,
Yes,
the
sir.
white folks that influenced me so much, that's all I wanted.
Yes, sir.
But when I came in contact with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, I said, man, I wish I had 1,000.
Yes, sir.
You know, but since you couldn't have 1,000, that's why you adopt others.
Absolutely.
And you interact with people. So, well, you know, help me to know, how did you learn to appreciate what your father was really instilling in you, and vice versa, because your father is from the community of the Hebrew Israelites as well.
Yes.
Absolutely. Learning at a young age the importance of what my father was doing, I think resonated with me so early, because I seen a man who was diligent. I seen a man who was consistent and persistent, who never gave up no matter how many obstacles or impediments were thrown his way. And that type of determination activated something in me, Brother Munir, that at the very least, I need to know this man and why he's so determined. What is driving him when most people that I was accustomed to facing any type of adversity, they quit, they give up, they make excuses. And I seen a man who never talked about the problem, but only talked about the solution. And so I said, man, if this is my father, if this is how he carries himself, how do I get into that same vein? How do I carry myself in that same type of thought frame that allows me to be that successful? And then that's what allowed me to start to study him and start to be with him and move with him. And such a blessing that was, because it brought me to you. My father, as I told you always, you're my father. And being here at Crow, which my wife can tell you, gave me another level of experience and gave me another level of paying attention to detail more than anything. And I think that's what the message of teaching does, is that it makes you focus on all the things that most people overlook, and you be really in line with trying to give the best possible product, the best possible presentation, the best possible ultimate solution. And I think that's why we say cooking has to be taken to the next level, because if you're going to be the best you have to put the best food in you. And so that's when we started to come together and really say, okay, we're eating vegan, but are we eating the best possible vegan food we can be doing? Are we really understanding the nutrients and the macronutrients and the micronutrients? Are we understanding the calorie intake and all these different things, how much we're expending, what we need to eat and still be as efficient as possible? What foods do we need that we can still stay healthy, relatively lean, but at the same time have the energy to do what it takes to be successful?
And I have to say, you know, Dr. Mason, who is my friend, who was a urologist, I say once a urologist, always.
Absolutely.
But he's gone total vegan, and the Hebrew Israelites, he credits that. And of course, he came up with me in the mosque together. So you're not going on deaf ears. People are being affected by what you do. But what makes me happy with you all, you're willing to give back of yourself, and your father allows me to deal with you for you to explore, because quite frankly, you know, having to step into this arena, when you get to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and of course, Prince has acknowledged that. And most fathers want their children to look up to them and look up to them only. But with the messenger, he is so big,
Yes, sir.
till you can't get around it, you know. And so this is why I never had a problem with acknowledging him as first, because if those with me understood that, they would be with him too.
Absolutely.
You know. But anyway, we have a quick phone call and then I'll
Yes, sir.
let you continue. I'll call you on the air.
Assalamu alaikum. This is your sister Aisha calling from Birmingham, Alabama, and I just want to just let the brother and his wife. I'm just so proud of him. I just don't know what to do. The spirit of Allah just dwells in him, and he is a perfect example for the young people, Crow and everywhere else to watch. And the dedication and see the distraction is what keeps you away from doing the work. Okay, and may God continue to bless you, Munir, and the Prince and his son and his wife.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
What do you want to say, my dear sister? Because I know sometimes when a husband is out working, like, especially if you don't understand, you really don't. It's too good to be true. I can remember something. Of course, I don't hear it today, but my little girl, when she was first born, and I was always on the move, and I remember I was told, "Say, well, your daughter haven't seen you, because when she sleep, you know, you just coming in, and before she get up, you're leaving out." And even though it was touching, you know, that somebody, you know, the little girl don't see her father like that. But I was working, and I knew that I had to work. Well, you grew up in a family that made you know that if he wasn't out working, there was something wrong. Is that right or wrong?
That's correct. My father has 9 children, 5 girls and 4 boys. So I'm the youngest out of the girls. So, I mean, I understood, you know, the stipulations and him being away a lot. And I used to ask him the same questions, you know, when you come in, how long you gonna be here? But the more I grew up, I had to understand that he wasn't doing it on purpose. He had to take care of his family. And so I make sure that I instill that into my girls. Because
so they understand that.
Yeah.
But because you have some women that are very, you know, jealous and protective. You young, even when you saw his picture on the screen, you had to say, man, that guy is very photogenic or something.
Yes.
Yeah, you thought like that. But anyway, you all work together.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, you know, and running things together. So that brings them even closer. So you know how this is supposed to go.
Yes.
So, well, what is that like working?
It's beautiful, Brother Munir, and it's funny that you say that, because when we first started talking at, I think 19, I told her, I'm going to be away. The responsibility, before I even understood it, she can attest to this day, I said, I'm going to be traveling. I'm not going to be there. I need to know, if we're going to embark on this journey together, that you're willing to not just accept that, but understand that, and that we're able not to be at odds when I'm doing my job and I'm taking on this responsibility. And of course he said, yeah, and, you know, through that period we had some rough parts, but we're at a place right now, Brother Man, I thank Almighty God Allah for this opportunity to have a woman like this, that she understands and she believes in me. Everything that I do is because of the support that she gives me and the protection she has at the home. She instills, like she said earlier, that understanding to my daughters. So when they see me, when I come in, they run to me. We get up at 4:30 every morning. I go work out. She's at home preparing the food, making sure everything is proper. And we own restaurants, and she cooks my food every day, every single day. Make sure my post-workout shake is ready, everything, clothes iron out. I mean, things that I don't even have to worry about, so that I can put as much time and energy into the bigger picture, so to speak. And I mean, it's just a beautiful thing, because to have somebody like that, to understand and to want to be a part of that and not want to do anything besides her part. She don't try to be me. She don't try to speak and do all the other things. She said, I understand this man's mission. Like she spoke about her father and my father and being around those men. I understood what I'm accepting, and I want to support him the best way I possibly can. But she believes for herself at the same time.
Very good. Now, brothers and sisters, I want to give you a kind of a preview of what a young man can still look like in this day and time, and what a young couple can still look like. And I don't think they've been drinking the Kool-Aid of the devil. You understand?
Try best
As
not
much
to.
because you want to stay away from that. If you're being fed a steady diet of devil, brothers and sisters, you will reflect that. And unfortunately, that's what our society has become because you have excluded the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's teaching, period. You don't even want to go near it. You don't even want to think about it. And that's something that constantly creates a problem. I was at, I got an opportunity to see Minister Farrakhan at T.L. Barrett's church yesterday.
Yes, sir.
And that man taught like a young teenager. He was so fired up and so moved. And, I mean, he was teaching.
Yeah.
And they said, well, you know, this guy coming out of the Bible. But he was giving them a taste of what Christianity really should be about. But I said, how could people listen like that and really don't listen? But I understood because they're so used to being moved in the church, and sometimes when you got a voice, you can make music with that voice. So they were dancing as if they had tambourines or something.
Yes, sir.
But brothers and sisters, as I say, we're streaming live, and they're going to develop a not only a cookbook, but you thinking about having some cooking classes.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Even if you want to say anything about that?
Yep.
I just want to be able to share the gift that I was given through my mother and my my 4 sisters who taught me, because I definitely didn't know how to cook, but you know, I knew it was something that I had to do, and so I definitely want to be able to return the favor to anybody who wants to learn.
Well, we certainly have the facility.
Yes.
Where you can utilize the place. And sometimes when things are not being utilized, it can bring about social change among what we already have. We certainly have information and the history. And I think it's encouraging to see a young couple like you being able to take a teaching that you've had over the years and incorporate it and to show you. In Islam, it talks about expand my breath.
Yes, sir.
Right? And so even though that you may have been at one point, but you certainly gravitating toward the upper room.
Yes, sir.
And in order to do that, you have to have all the ingredients.
That's true.
And if anybody can do it, I think it's you all. And sometimes those of us that are older have to yield and submit. And I like what I see, and I hope other people like it too. If you want to talk to them before I switch gears, brothers and sisters, you certainly can. Again, the phone number is 773-434-6625. Many of you have seen my brother on with me on a regular basis. First time you saw his wife, I know some of the sisters in the audience have to get over that, so they're making adjustments and all. But I understand. 773-434-6631. Anything you want to say, either one of you, before I switch gears?
Absolutely. I just thank Almighty God for allowing us to give the opportunity to give back. Like you spoke about earlier, when you're given a knowledge, when you've been taught, when you've been put in a position to succeed, and then you acquire that knowledge and you don't do nothing with it, you don't return it to those or give it back to the universe, give it back to the earth, give it back to the people who may be able to take that knowledge and take it to the next level, you're doing an injustice, and we didn't want to participate in that. We've been blessed to have great men like you, my father, the minister, her mother, my mother, you know, all these great men and women who were examples for us to give us a knowledge, to give us an understanding, to give us examples. And we feel it's our part and our responsibility to give that to other people as well. So this is a gift.
Now, I know I've heard you talk, and I appreciate you yield and things, but if it's something you want to say, I think you need to say it before we take this call. Anything you want?
I just want to thank you for allowing my family to be a part of your family and everyone here at Crow, the sisters. I mean, the love and the welcoming is just, it's so beautiful.
Well, that's good because you know
Yes.
youth generates enthusiasm because we remember what we wanted to be like, and you remind us of the oath that we took from the beginning. See, when I came into the teaching, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was so strong, he forced love on you.
Yes, sir.
You couldn't help but love the people that whether you knew them or not. This is wherever we were in the world, and we ran into a Muslim, the embracing was open. And I'll tell you this. Let me take this call now.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Caller, you're on the air.
Hey, good afternoon, Brother Manette. This is your brother Sidney calling from the Bronx, New York. I'm just really calling to give y'all the greeting, the Assalamu alaikum. Brother Yosef, you're a powerful couple. Keep doing what you're doing.
You,
I've been watching you on this show. You're a very powerful brother. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank
You're
you,
a very
brother.
powerful couple.
Thank you so much.
The brothers calling from the Bronx in New York, those of you who don't know. I told you we were live,
Teach.
so why don't you try those of you who are in Asia right now?
Teach.
That guy who told me he's in China, you just waking up, give us a call.
Yes, sir.
Now, I was going to say something, and that's why I should have said it before I took the break, but it's so beautiful, brother, when you can feel a certain way about people. You know, as I say, the Hebrew family took me in, and I got to Israel, and I was wondering, where did I see all these Muslims
Teach.
at?
Yeah.
But the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was gone. And we needed a spiritual base because many of us saw the loosening up of our discipline,
Yes, sir.
and we were about to deny the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, think of him as all kind of negative thoughts that were given to us, not by an outsider and not by an angel, but a devil within.
Yes, sir.
And people don't think that can happen, but that happens all the way.
Yes, sir.
Listen, beloved, over 30 years ago, when we were starting Crow, I couldn't think of anybody that could be angry with us. And to prove it, I could see a headline right now, all factions came together.
Yes, sir.
They came together at our place because we were showing a film, the historical documentary.
Yes, sir.
They didn't care what we called ourselves. They were just glad they had had enough emptiness
Yes, sir. Teach.
without the message of God. And they were so weak by that point, you were looking for a transfusion.
Yes.
Everybody else had taken advantage of our teaching and started something else. Somebody else was publishing our books that we didn't think enough of. I mean, they were taking the messenger's tapes and destroying them.
Yes, sir.
And we were permitting it. You understand?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
now, here you coming here, and you recognize the teacher. Look, a lot of people think the messenger was wrong. And that's why we don't see them. We don't see the reciprocity.
Yeah, teach.
How in the world, there are many of these people out here who watching me now, they wouldn't be eating had it not been for this organization.
Yes, sir.
Gave them their families, gave them their, you say, yes, we did. We literally did because you had to meet them someplace.
Teach.
And if you didn't have nothing to eat, then we were going to feed you. And so there were things that we did, and I couldn't watch an organization. I was telling about a cousin visiting with us recently, and I took him downstairs to show him that this way was a flood at Crow. We went down our computers floating through the water. You think we had a great fundraiser and the people in the nation helped us? No. They didn't help us. They looked at it. I mean, it was in the paper, but people looked at it. Well, they'll be okay.
Yeah.
So, see, those kind of things. And then when you go to telling me about the African Museum, you tell me about the 16th Street Baptist Church, and I'm here right here in Crow, and people say, oh, I've been there. Y'all done a good job. Yeah, but then you want to know, why am I dealing with these so-called outsiders? Because these are the people who end up helping us, the people who saw us struggling and wanted to help us. And you know, quite frankly, I think that's most of the Muslims' problems. I know certainly around this town, they're embarrassed.
Yes, sir.
Because they secretly came to us, and then they recognized that the seats were golden, and the minister, who was a star already, had a golden voice.
Yeah.
Even Silas, who wrote a book, The Weight of the Nation of Islam, which didn't compare with the destruction
Teach.
of the Nation of Islam, which we did,
Absolutely.
went out in the cold weather filming the property that was boarded up, you know. So I hate the editorial line, but it's so much in me. And I can't understand that people don't see
Yeah.
this organization that brought clarity
Teach, Brother Manel.
to these things. And then if you see that, then it's, you know, we got to do something about that. But then people ask me, oh, well, is there anything I can do? No, you can keep looking and all that. Our brothers and sisters, did I have another call? I thought I had another call. But look, I appreciate you all.
appreciate you, sir.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
You can get started when you want. We welcome you with open arms.
Yes,
And I thank you so much. And brothers and sisters, they have two beautiful daughters who I know can cook. I may take one of those classes. You never know.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Because I could use the calorie intake and understanding, because you all have become scientists of
Yes,
the
sir.
food. And I remember I was in Ghana when your father had the business organization. And anytime you can take people to Africa and start a business, I don't know why you can't do it right here.
Teach.
And for people who don't know, let them know what is Soul Vegetarian Restaurant.
Absolutely. Original Soul Vegetarian.
Now tell them why you said original.
The original, because we were the first. There's many around the country. Well, not anymore. It's 2 around the country. But we were the original. And it's on 205 East 75th Street. That's the cross street of Indiana and 75th.
Now tell the people also that you're downtown.
Yes,
You
sir.
know.
We're also downtown West Loop area on 131 North Clinton Street. Again, the address is 131 North Clinton Street. It's inside of the French Market, which is adjacent to the Ogilvy train
And
station.
this is religiously inclined. They believe in this food.
Yes.
You are what you eat.
Yeah.
And like I say, that he's an extension because his mother, of course, was a Muslim follower
Absolutely.
of the Honorable Elijah
Absolutely.
Muhammad. So, my dear sister, I'm thankful to you all
Thank you.
for coming in. I'm glad that you're learning all about the messenger of God.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
And everything they said about Charles Taylor is not true. Okay? My sister was born in Liberia,
Yes.
so to let you know. I know some of you wish you were born in Africa, too. Now, I'm going to take a break. Now, when I tell you something, brothers and sisters, you can take it to the bank.
Teach.
We were traveling here recently. Many of you have asked about my son, Carlos, who had a stroke. I don't normally do this, but we did an inadvertently interview briefly. And one of my cousins, who showed us such great hospitality in Birmingham, kind of talked to them just to see where they were. And as you know, one of my friends, James Bias, who passed about a month ago now, who was my oldest friend. I met him when I was 7 years old, and right now his picture's up in Crow, where it will live forever.
Yes, sir.
And that's what you should say. Even when we get angry with you, we don't go take the pictures down. Once you have a picture up in Crow, it's there for life. Because this is an archive. And everybody who has helped us in one way or the other, brothers and sisters, we try to accommodate. You should do the same. But I guarantee if you start thinking about the impact Crow may have had on your life, you're going to be shamed. And I got some bounty so I can give you so you can catch the tears that you should start to shed right now. We'll be right back. We're going to go to Detroit. I know I told some of you a few weeks back I lost my oldest friend. His name was James Bias. We have been friends since I was 7 years old, and we had a long, long, long friendship. and he's no longer with us, but we have someone that he left behind, and it's his daughter that I met her about 35 years ago, I guess, when her mother was carrying her. And she's none other than Jerron Bias. Right. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. You know, I can remember your mother in the early stage. In fact, I think it was one July 4th that they spent that maybe 4 or 5 days with me.
Okay.
And she was pregnant with you. So that's been a long, long time.
Yes, it has.
So how have you been with the absence of your father?
I'm holding up. You know, I know my dad wouldn't want me to grieve or, you know, feel sorry about what happened. So I'm doing my best to continue on to do what I have to do, you know, to raise my son as well, to try to make sure that my son remember his granddad.
You know, we would talk often, but I know he would always say he had nothing but girls. It seems to me I do remember the grandson. Did he visit with you much, or did you bring your son over to see him much?
Oh, yes. I took my son over to my dad's a lot. Every weekend, every chance that I had when I was off work, I made sure that he keep in contact with his granddad, and they had a very close bond as he got older as well.
Yeah, and so your son is how old?
He's 9. He'll be 10 in January.
Does he look like your father?
They have similarities. They both little and tall and skinny. Yeah. And he has a good memory. He's good at math like my dad was.
Yeah. So you knew your dad was a very good writer as well.
Yes.
You know, they used to joke with him and say he wrote better than a girl. You know, we were coming up. So let me say to you, because Assalamu alaikum, we're back. And brothers and sisters, we're streaming live all over the entire world. And I know sometimes you don't always appreciate things that are being shown to you, but we have a life as black people. And we're human beings, and we have relationships. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, once he taught us the knowledge of self, the knowledge of God, and the knowledge of the devil, we had to act like civilized people. I am so honored for the first picture that I ever took when you said, I don't want no picture. And now every time you come in the Crow, you want to know where your picture is. You know, that's the kind of people you are. But if you just acknowledge the fact that we are all ignorant to certain things, but we were building something then just because you didn't see it. When you had a man in your midst like the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the impact that he has had on the world, you wish you had every speech, every movement, everything that he did. That's why the books, the sayings of the messenger, he never spoken an idle word. That's the way we see him. And it was so beautiful till when he said, ye all are gods, if you but know, we bring a person alive even when you say he's dead. And I'm so thankful. My friend had 6 daughters, and the idea that in his phone, he had 3 numbers in him, and 2 of them was mine. And he saw me as one of his best friends, and that was touching to me. And I'm so happy that I'm able to keep him alive, even in his absence. So you can go on YouTube and see one of the tributes that I did with him. I'm going to take another break, and I'm going to play a little excerpt from an interview that I did with my son or my cousin, one of them, but you'll see it. And try to understand when you have an impact on people. This is what this is, not only the archives for the Nation of Islam, but the total black experience. We embody the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's love affair that he had with his people. And that's the way we've seen you, and that's why when we told you, when you came through the door, that the door swings open, we know you can go someplace else, and you do that in many instances. But remember where your source of life began. If it didn't begin with us, fine. If we didn't contribute to you, fine. But I believe that we had an impact on all of Chicago, and not to even be mentioned publicly is a disaster. We'll be right back. Assalamu alaikum. We're here at the home of my beloved cousin Mance Terry. Just came in from Atlanta, and we decided to sit down and talk to him because last time we were here, we promised we would for a few moments. Assalamu alaikum, cuz.
Walaikum salam, cuz.
If you don't mind, this mic belongs to me. I don't mind holding it.
Oh, good then. Fantastic.
Let me say, I want to thank you for being so hospitable, not just this time, but you really have proven to be a great asset. You know, and when I say that, we kind of grew together, and I'm really, really, really proud of the way that you've handled yourself. Now, this is what they would say in the business, a nice spread you have here.
It'll do.
It'll do, huh?
Yeah, it'll do for a old boy.
Yeah, but it's accommodating for quite a few. Is that right?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now, what do you think has been your number one asset in life? I mean, you know, we joke around, we play a lot, but you're about 7, 8 years younger than me, but you've always been somewhere around in what we call the learning tree. So on a serious basis, what has been the most important asset to your life, you think?
Elijah Muhammad has been the biggest asset of my life since I was 14 years old. If he wouldn't have been in my life, I wouldn't know where I'd be today. He always taught you, get you some wisdom, knowledge, and some understanding.
And you took that to heart.
Mm-hmm. And work. Work for yourself, get something for yourself.
And you certainly have never been bashful. You would always do something for self, wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Now, look, I've done a little research on you, if you don't mind. You tell me if this is true. You were a super athlete when you were coming up in school. You played basketball really well. In fact, I remember when you had Halif and I playing, and I think you gave us quite a lead and fixed it so we couldn't win. You remember that?
Oh, yeah, man. That's back when we was young then.
But, I mean, you were that good.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Y'all just weren't that good.
But, no, it wasn't that we weren't that good. We were smaller. But, I mean, why didn't you try to play professional, in whether it was football or basketball? Where was it?
I fell in love.
That's what really happened?
Yeah.
So that's the impact that Kathy had on you?
Yes, sir.
Now, what made you, since we're switching gears on this, because she is a sweet young girl, what made you know that this was the girl? Because I remember you introducing her to me. She couldn't have been no more than 15, 16.
Yeah, we go back to high school days. Yeah, that's a long.
What was it?
Love at first sight. It blew my mind.
Okay. All right, I'll accept that. Well, your friends would always say that you were a revolutionary. What did they mean by that? Because during the time I was going to school, they were not integrated. But you all kind of integrated, and you was supposed to be this revolutionary. What happened?
No, I wasn't. I was just a teacher of teaching my peoples about knowing they self, because you got several schools merging that don't know one another, and they ain't got nothing and I ain't got nothing. So why we beefing at each other? And then he calling each other the N word. That ain't good, you know.
So you organize. Assalamu alaikum. We are back. And brothers and sisters, that's my revolutionary cousin, Max Terry. You'll be hearing more from him. He's a unique fella. He got a lot to tell. Dr. Powers, I understand you on the line. How are you?
I'm doing well, Brother Menez. Thank you.
Yeah, it's too bad that we didn't get a chance to Skype, but I want you to hold on. I'm going to talk to you in a moment, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, brothers and sisters, this is, like I said, so many of you have sent prayers out to my son, Carlos, and I tell you, brothers and sisters, when you have that to happen to you, you got to have some help. And I'll come back and talk a little bit about that on my way back. So let me just give you a little insight of that interview. I couldn't have been in Atlanta without that. We'll be right back. Family, I'm just so elated because I'm here with my son, Carlos, in Cartersville, Georgia. Assalamu alaikum, son.
Alaikum salam, sir.
How you doing?
I'm doing well, and yourself?
Yeah, well, I'm sure that somebody want to hear you describe how you doing. We talked to you over the phone, and what you're experiencing now. Of course, you look as if nothing is wrong. So a few months back, nearly 4 months, you had this stroke. So how are you coming?
Yes, sir. I'm coming along good. Therapy.
You don't have to lean down.
Therapy has helped me out. I mean, I still have my rough days, having to learn things all over again, walk and talk and move my left side. But
when you say walk and talk, because I've spent some time with you, you don't seem that you're at a loss for memory of words you're able to articulate. So what do you mean learn to talk?
Well, in the beginning, some of my words would come out slur, and I would repeat myself a lot or stutter. But my memory is good. My mind is sharp. I pick up. It's like I pick up from where I left off at as far as with my mind. Reading, I have no problem. And as far as walking, it's just this left side.
It bothers you.
That bothers me, but it's better now with therapy. I have about 4 more weeks, they say, and they say I'm progressing every week. They give me a good report.
Well, let me say this. I want you to look into the camera when you talk, because I want to see your eyes and stuff. You know, I'm going to have the microphone conveniently put for you.
Yes, sir.
But is it painful in any way?
Some days I wake up with pain.
Now, how you feeling right now as we?
I'm good right now.
Yeah. So this is a good feeling. I mean, is it because you have visitors, or is it?
Yes, that's part of the reason, because I have visitors, and when I stretch and do my exercises, that kind of alleviates the pain, because I don't know if anybody's out there is familiar when a person has a stroke, and as they recover from it, the tone is set up in their body, and if they don't do anything about it, that's why you see so many people that have strokes. They walk with a limp, or their arms just kind of shriveled up on them like that. It's because they hadn't stretched or exercised themselves. And
now, I see as you were talking then, you were exercising your right arm. Would you like to be able to do that with your left arm?
Yes. I have some movement in it, not like I used to, but at first I couldn't even do this. I couldn't even take it out of my lap.
Yeah, I can remember that.
But now, so this is a big improvement from where I started.
So whenever you go to therapy, they have you to move your arm a lot.
Yes.
Now, when I came in, you were standing up.
Yes, sir.
On your own. Was that something that you practiced, or you said, well, I'm going to show my daddy that when I come in that I can stand up?
Well, I wanted to show you that I could stand up, and I can stand up without my cane, without holding on to my cane. I do have good balance now. Okay. But at first, I was like a limp noodle. And you know, I couldn't stand up. I couldn't even sit straight up. I would fall over.
Okay, well, one of the things I want to ask you, because a lot of people may be watching and have gone through this, these difficulties that you're going through, and Social Security, I was under the impression that when you were disabled, that almost immediately, when they found out about it, they would kick in to support you. But that hasn't taken place with you.
No, I think, what was it, maybe 2 days after I got out of the hospital, I went down to Social Security. They asked me all these questions about my past jobs over 15 years, and do I have any money in the bank. They were asking about my wife's money and stuff like that. And so I filled out all the paperwork they needed me to, and they wanted, then I get a phone call saying that since my injury is new, they want to wait at least 6 months to see what my prognosis would be after I've been through therapy and all that before they make a decision.
Now, I can understand that. Now you're telling me this, because when you think about it, I'm amazed, and I'm sure they were amazed that you could come down there within 2 weeks.
Yes, sir.
So that's all you stayed in the hospital was 2 weeks?
No, I was in there about a month.
Well, you misspoken then, because you couldn't have gone down to Social Security.
Well, no, I'm saying after I got home, a couple of days after I got home, we drove down to Social Security.
So that was a couple of months after the stroke?
After the stroke, yes, sir.
Right. Okay. Now, and let me say this, because I'm not going to tax you. I know that can be hard on you. But sometimes when it comes to this paperwork, you have to get on your doctors, because it's one thing for you to be uncomfortable, but when you're not getting the resources that you need, that could hurt your recovery.
Yes, sir. You're right.
I'm going to talk to your wife, because I have to tell you, from what I've seen, you're very fortunate to have someone to care about you like this.
Yes, sir. And I know she have her days that she tried to take care of me and the house, and take me back and forth to therapy. So, and I know she have her day that she's in pain herself or tired, So I'm trying to be a little bit more independent as much as I possibly can. Like I can take myself to the bathroom. She doesn't like me walking without her, afraid I'm in the fall.
Assalamu alaikum. I just want to tell you, brothers and sisters, I have to have Dr. Powers on next week, and I was scheduled to have Kim Muhammad, so I have to apologize to them. It's not like Matt Damon or anybody. Just let you know I watched that too. Anyway, but I wanted to hear from Carlos's wife is how I found my son again. So I'm going to let it go off this way. Brothers and sisters, remember the things that I've said to you today. You got to learn what reciprocity is. And you got to learn to give to that which gives to you. So thank you so much for watching. And may Allah bless you with the light of understanding. As I greet you in peace, I'm going to go off with my sister, Patricia. Thank you. Sister Pat, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful.
When you listen to Carlos talk about you and the things you've done, you're not a nurse by profession, are you?
No, sir.
Okay. When you met Carlos, you met him in the factory.
Yeah, no, we met at the grocery store.
The grocery store.
Yeah.
And you took him to the factory.
Yes.
Yeah. Let me say, you know, this is my son, of course. And when I think about, you know, what, you know, he's going through, and you having to recognize what he was going through that night when he had this stroke. What was it like for you that evening?
Well, when I realized something was wrong, I knew something was wrong because I know him. I know if I call his name, I know how he's going to address me and stuff like that. So when I called his name and he didn't address me properly, you know, because he couldn't speak well. So I knew something was wrong. But I was confused because I said, now I know he's not drinking. So, you know, but it was almost like it was a drunk man that was, you know, speaking.
Incoherent.
Yeah. So I knew something was wrong. And so I got, you know, called 911. And
Right away.
Right away. Yeah.
So on your way to the hospital, you knew, and you went with him?
Well, I drove my car. They took him on in the ambulance because they said something was wrong. But because I've never seen a stroke victim or a person having a stroke, I didn't know what was going on. I just knew that something was different, something was wrong, but I didn't know what it was.
So he stayed in the hospital overnight, and you stayed with him?
Yes, every night I could. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And they allowed you to do that?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Now, you have later since left your job.
Yes, I did.
Why did you leave your job?
Well, taking care of a person that's had a stroke, it requires a lot of attention as far as therapy. Like, we get therapy when we go to the center, but they give us the tools to work with at home.
So you become essentially a care worker yourself?
Yes. Mm-hmm. So when we get home,
without, of course, the financial benefit.
Yes, right. Mm-hmm.